Now that Luminar Neo's Bokeh AI tool works on all images, not just portraits anymore, do we still need the blur tool? For me, it's a big hell yes. I'm Darlene with Digital Photo Mentor, and in this video tutorial, you'll learn why both the Bokeh AI and the blur tools have a place in my photo editing workflow. You'll see what the tools do, when to use one over the other, and how they differ. By the end of this video, you'll have a good grasp on when to get Bokehlicious and when to blur things up. So if you're ready to get started, let's do it. First, let's take a look at where to find each of these blur tools and the difference in terms of the effect that they each make. The blur tool is found in the creative section near the bottom, just above film grain. The Bokeh AI tool is found in the portrait section, just below studio light. So if you're looking for it, it's not in the creative section. They may move it at a future date, but as of now, it's still in the portrait section of tools. So let's take a look at blur first. With blur, we have various different options, including the type of blur and the amount. Gaussian blur basically just does an overall softening. If I wanted to blur the background, this is the one I would use. But blur also offers twisted, where you can do a zoom effect or a twirl effect. We'll take a look at those later. Motion, where you can have side to side or top to bottom motion effect added. And tilt shift that adds a blur to two edges of the image. For an image like this, I would use Gaussian blur set to a low number. Then, of course, we don't want it to apply to the man, so I would use Mask AI, set it to human, and then just simply invert or flip the mask so it's now on the background, like so. It's pretty simple and easy to do. Just apply the blur and mask it off the man. So that one's not too much work. Let's go with something like that. Now let's apply Bokeh AI and compare. If you've previously used the portrait bokeh version of this tool, you'll notice it looks a little different. There's still a blur amount slider, but now we have this little tool at the bottom. This is what's called depth mapping. You'll notice the man is sort of highlighted here. What this is showing is anything that is black in this little diagram is going to have the blur applied to it, but it does it in a smarter way than Gaussian blur. You'll notice that the things that are the furthest away from the camera over in this far right area are more blurry than the things that are right behind him over here on the left. You can also adjust the distance of the blur and the amount this way. The closer you bring it to the foreground, the more the background is blurred. You can even create an effect where the subject is partly blurred, creating a very shallow depth of field look. You also have the option of changing the look of the bokeh in the background. For example, I can change it to hexagon or even stars or hearts. So while the blur tool and the bokeh tool both do something very similar, you'll notice the look here is quite different. We also have more control using the Bokeh AI tool, and you'll also notice that I didn't have to do any masking. This little slider does the magic for us. Let's compare side by side. On the left, you see the image done with the blur tool, and on the right is Bokeh AI. Notice in this version, there is actual bokeh in the background. Wherever there is a bright highlight, you'll see them appear, and you can adjust the shape. You can't do that with the Gaussian blur on the blur tool. Let's look at another more complicated example. Let's say I want to blur the background in this image. Let's try Bokeh AI first. Remember, it's smart enough to know which things are further away from the camera. So as I increase the blur amount, you'll notice that the trees here have become quite blurry. but the ones closest to the pagodas, including the pagodas themselves, are sharper. I'm just going to take it to extreme so you can really see what's happening here. And once again, you can see the bokehs are applying in the background and we're getting the shape. Now, if I adjust the distance slider on the depth map like this, we can get more blur. So just the foreground is sharp, or less blur. Let's keep it around there to make it look more realistic. When I zoom in, you can see that indeed the little pagodas are sharp and these trees in the far background are blurry, yet the ones over here closer to the pagodas are sharp. So this is a really, really smart tool, and it required no masking on my part. Now let's compare that to the blur tool. Starting from scratch with the same image, let's increase the Gaussian blur. The first thing you'll notice that is, of course, it's applying to the entire image. So we need to remove it from the foreground and some of the pagodas. But what is the best way to do that? We're obviously going to have to mask. I'm going to try linear gradient first. So I only want the blur coming down to that tree and fading off about like that. Now I've gotten the background kind of in alignment with what I want, but I still have to remove the blur from each pagoda separately. I could try Mask AI. Let's have a look and see what that does. And architecture, but it's not picking it all up accurately. We could try man-made ground, but that one is already set okay. So I'm just going to undo what I've done and go back to the linear gradient. Now let's do object select and try and subtract each of these pagodas. Notice how I have to do them section by section and make sure that I get each part. Don't want to miss any. Let me just do this selection. That's pretty close, right? I can fill in any gaps with the erase brush, like so. But what do you notice? Well, we still have quite a few things in the background that are blurry, but I don't want to remove the blur from them completely. I just want them less blurred, potentially. So I have to go back to the object select and continue subtracting until I get them all, or at least the ones that I want sharp. See how tedious this is? A lot more work than the other method. I think I want this tree sharp as well. I'm getting close now, but you notice how much masking and brushwork I have to do here? Quite a lot. And it's still not blending as nice as I would like in the background here. So I still have to erase a little bit more so that the focus is falling off 50% or so in the middle here. So I'm spending quite a bit of time painting and masking. And the tree here still needs some sharpness added. But it's very difficult to do any kind of similar look using the distance scale. I'm really just guessing. I think that's pretty close. Let's compare the two side by side once more. The one on the left was done with the blur tool. It took a lot more time, and it's not as good as the one on the right, which is done with Bokeh AI. This one is far more believable in terms of creating the look of shallow depth of field. And personally, I'd rather do less work and have a better result, wouldn't you? Tell me in the comment area below if you can see yourself using Bokeh AI to do effects like this. I have a couple more examples to show you, but make sure you stick around all the way to the end because I have a bonus tip for you on how to make an abstract background. If you're struggling to understand how to use all of the tools in Luminar Neo to make the best images possible, then Luminar Neo, the complete course, might be exactly what you need. You'll learn each tool step by step so it's not confusing, and your skills and knowledge will grow naturally so that you will have a great understanding of which tool to use to get the effect that you want. Included in the course are the raw files used to demonstrate in the videos, so you can follow along. There's also several bonuses, including skies, overlays, and a keyboard shortcut cheat sheet. For more information or to buy the course, click the link in the description area below. It's a complete Luminar education package. On this image, I wanted to blur the background but keeps the leaves that are in midair sharp. So let's see how well the Bokeh AI tool does on this example. Drag the amount up, and then we can adjust the distance. But already I can see that it's doing a fabulous job. It hasn't blurred any of the leaves because it knows they are closer to the camera. If I adjust this blur closer, then the leaves start to get blurry. So let's just back it off a little bit. And of course, if I need to, I can always mask them out using Object Select, Subtract. But right out of the gate, the Bokeh AI tool did a great job all on its own. And of course, we get the lovely hexagon-shaped bokeh. I think that's my favorite. Now, let's do the same thing with the blur tool. Once again, of course, we don't have the ability of automatic masking. So I'm going to apply it. And once more, I'm going to use a linear gradient because I want the blur to stop somewhere around here where the leaves are on the ground. Something around here. And then, of course, we just need to subtract the girl. So Object Select, and I could use Mask AI for this, but Subtract does a good job as well. Now we need to go and get each of the leaves and make sure they're sharp also. Did I get them all? Let's see. Now we can also adjust the mask if we need to using the new feather slider, and it actually looks fairly believable. However, once again, there's a little bit more work involved masking. We don't get the bokeh shape or blob in the background, but there are some benefits of using this tool if you want to create some different effects or looks. For example, you may have heard of the Adamsky effect. By changing this to the motion blur, I'm just going to take it all the way to the extreme, and then changing the angle, now we're creating a blur that looks like the background is streaking upwards. This kind of effect you cannot do with Bokeh AI. Do you see the difference? Bokeh AI is more for replicating a shallow depth of field look, whereas the blur tool is much more useful for creating effects. Continuing on with that thought process, let's look at the next example. Let's see what happens when we use Bokeh AI on this image. I'm going to take it to extreme and then just adjust this slider a little bit. Now, what do you see? Masking this to get the background blurred would be exceedingly time consuming and difficult. But simply by adjusting this slider and using this tool, we get something that's very realistic looking very quickly. On the opposite side of that is, what if we want to do something creative? So let's try it again, this time using the blur tool and motion. Once again, angle to 90 degrees. Now, all we have to do is pick the trees that we want to have sharp using Object Select. I'm going to go with this one, this one, this one, and perhaps this one. From there, I can refine it a little bit or select some additional trees that I want to have sharp. For example, I might want to have part of the bottom here a bit sharper to see some of these leaves, like so. So just by varying the masking opacity, I can create a really neat effect here. Once again, you cannot do this kind of thing with Bokeh AI. Okay, it's time for the bonus tip. I promised to show you how to make an abstract background. So let's do that. This image has already been edited. And of course, if we apply Bokeh AI, we can make a nicely blurred background. We can even blur some of the petals of the flower to replicate a very shallow depth of field. But if we want something a little more artistic, we have to go back to the blur tool. This is what I created. Let me show you how I did it. First of all, I used the layer properties to cut out the flower so that all that's left on this layer is the flower and a transparent background. If you want to know how I did that, check the description area below. There's a link to a video on background removal using this tool. Then I added a background that is literally just a plain texture. If I remove all the edits, you'll see what it looks like. Then I used the blur tool set to twist it at 45 degrees, which starts to give you this swirl effect. Then I just applied it twice more to intensify the swirl, and finally develop to darken and intensify the color a bit more. Then I duplicated that layer and did some additional effects, this time using the same blur, but the angle set to 0. So all I did was set the angle to 0 on all 3 variations that I had already applied. Remember, I copied the layer so it comes over with it. And then I flipped the layer so I could get the opposite pattern occurring. This is a really neat technique. I have an entire video on doing special effects using the blur tool. Check it out in the description area below as well. It's really fun to play with. I found a background image that had the same colors as the flower, and then I just experimented and played with things until I got an effect I liked. It's kind of fun, right? You can even take it a step farther by merging these 2 layers and then applying a blur to this layer, just to soften it a little bit. You could also try glow or mystical for a different effect. I'm happy with that. The bottom line is have fun with the blur tool and use it creatively while using the Bokeh AI tool to create a replicated shallow depth of field. I hope this gives you some ideas of how to use the blur tool and Bokeh AI in Luminar Neo. To see some more Luminar Neo tips, check out one of the videos on the screen now. Until next time, take care and keep practicing.